You're in big trouble, though, pal. I eat pieces of shit like me for breakfast.
You eat pieces of shit for breakfast?
No.
Good morning. Welcome to Breakfast of Champions, Season 1, Episode 10. We are coming to you live once again from Fort Worth Float Company, our home away from home, with our third co-host, Kevin O'Malley.
Third co-host, Kevin O'Malley.
Checking in. So we also have our other co-host, Parker Howard, here.
I'm just here to fuck shit up.
Thank you for joining us. If you are listening to this episode, that means you are listening to us on a week from when we record this, which is funny because we just dropped an episode this morning about 3 hours ago. Thank you for having us back, Kevin. We had a great time last time, and we're kind of short on time last time. As soon as I ended the podcast, I was like, no, I don't have time to look at your thing. I have to go, and I was gone. And so we had a lot of good feedback, and I also wanted to come back and try your wares and be less in a rush for time. So thanks for having us back, and we appreciate you.
Yeah, of course. Good to have you guys here.
So when you say using his wares, you get to use one of his wares for the first time today.
Yeah, I certainly did. I've never done a cold plunge, and all three of us just dipped right in and made it happen today. So if you're interested in what that's like, we're going to get into that here in a little bit. I've got that down here under their cold plunge review. We're going to talk about what our feelings were.
I read the
what
notes
we
right
thought
after
about.
I said that.
No, it's all good. It's all good. So we're kind of keeping it light this morning. I brought some donuts for us to try. We haven't had donuts in a couple of episodes, so.
And we haven't had donuts with Kevin.
I know. We keep on bringing nasty taco meat to Kevin.
Yeah, that's true.
But these are tomato donuts filled with mayonnaise, right?
Yeah, exactly.
All right, see you guys later.
And then I had ketchup packets to squirt on top of them.
What are other foods you don't like, Kevin?
Tomato is definitely the biggest and worst one. Also don't like mayonnaise. I like good mustard, but not like the shitty yellow mustard.
Okay.
That's about it.
Okay. Those are the only... No. Okay.
Yeah,
What
that's
about
really
you,
all.
Parker? What are you just don't eat them? Because I've got a couple in mind now that we're talking about foods we don't like/eat.
I mean, like we talked about on that one episode, sometimes if I cook something, I can't eat it.
Mm-hmm.
But I'm very much like, I'll try anything once kind of guy. And I can't think of anything that I've ever had that I was like, no, never again.
Yeah. For me, it's texture. I will not do squash or zucchini, especially cooked. When I was younger, there's this Mexican soup called caldo, and it always has some squash and zucchini that's cooked in there. And usually it's pretty good soup. It's got chicken and vegetables and that sort of thing. But for some reason, I cannot. The slimy, squishy squash zucchini is not my favorite.
I get that way sometimes with okra. Like, I like okra, but sometimes if it's too slimy, I have a hard time. If it's in gumbo, no big deal. Like, it adds that, texture to the gumbo. But yeah, I get that. And also squash sometimes, like, it squeaks on your teeth when you bite into it. I don't like that.
Yeah. Those are the only two things really I don't care for. Anything else I'll pretty much try or eat. I've had monkey brains in Pakistan. I've had...
Was it like in Temple of Doom?
It's exact. No, it's funny actually. We went to this place called Barbecue Tonight in Karachi, and it was not like that at all. It was not like the Faces of Death where you have to like crack
they
open
bring the skull. And...
Yeah, no, you don't have to do any of that. But it was on the brain. I mean, it was on the menu for like novelty's sake, and of course our guides were like, "You're gonna try the monkey brain, right?" And I'm like, "Sure, I'll have a bite." So yeah, it didn't kill me.
I mean, again, it's one of those things. It's like if I went to Pakistan and I had the opportunity and I turned it down, I would regret it later.
Yeah.
Like like so many things. It's just like, this is a once in a lifetime thing. I'm going to go ahead and do it because I would rather try it and hate it than regret it later.
So I've said this on another podcast. I agree with you 100%. Live in the moment, YOLO.
Yep.
But at that same place, Barbecue Tonight in Karachi, Pakistan, it's spelled BBQTONITE, like tonight.
Mm-hmm.
A couple of years after I came back from tour, I got this job over in Carrollton, and I was just like driving around trying to find something to eat for lunch, and I saw in this little strip mall the same font, same spelling, Barbecue Tonight. Went in, owned by the same family.
Holy shit.
There's only 2 Barbecue Tonights in the entire world, and one's in Carrollton, Texas, and the other one's in Karachi, Pakistan.
Do they have monkey brains on the
No,
menu?
no monkey
I was
brains.
going to be like,
No
we're getting in the
monkey
car, we're
brains
going
in
to Carrollton.
Carrollton.
I'm not going to work today. We're eating monkey brains.
So conversely, besides like foods we hate, I brought in particularly one donut for us to try. There's 6 of them, so we can have 2 each and have a diabetic coma if we'd like. But these are, if you're...
For your diabetes.
Yeah, diabetes. If you're ever in need of the sweetest donut in the world, you can go to Krispy Kreme, and then you can try these.
Wait. I just saw something because I know it's been a while since I've eaten a Krispy Kreme.
Yeah, go for it.
How do you feel about microwave Krispy Kremes? It says on the box to microwave it for 8 seconds. Would you do that?
Only if it was the original glazed.
Okay.
I would not do it with like the ones we're about to eat.
Microwave up to 8 seconds. They are pro microwave. Got it.
Well, I mean, so when the light's on, if you're ever driving by a Krispy Kreme and you see the light that says hot and fresh now, you can go in and they'll give you a free one right off the conveyor belt, right into your mouth hole.
That is my first Krispy Kreme memory is someone hand feeding me over the glass with a glove on.
Mm-hmm. Kevin, do you remember the first time you ever had Krispy Kreme?
No, I really don't.
I just remember them not being a thing in like the late 90s to early 2000s. And then once they hit this area, my dad and me would drive by and the line would just be like into traffic. And my dad was like, I'm not waiting in line for donuts, you know. But then you try them and you realize that they were really good when they first came out. Just the concept of having a hot, fresh glazed donut being served to you right fresh. And you're just like, yeah, I'll take 12 of those because they're light. And
Yeah.
so this particular donut is the chocolate iced cream filled donut. Kevin, if you'd like to donate one to your offspring, you may.
Yeah, my boy Calvin here heard donuts and he wandered over.
Come on in,
yeah.
Calvin.
Calvin,
Grab
you get the first
you
donut.
get the first one, buddy. Calvin, remind us, how old are you? 13?
I'm turning 9.
Turning 9. So
It's just a few days, right?
yeah. All right. So Calvin, for your 9th birthday, you get to choose one of our. This is my favorite donut. It's a chocolate iced cream filled donut. It's really sweet, but it's my favorite. Krispy Kreme. If you've never had them, let's take a. I did pull this up yesterday while we were. I'll pull this up and talk a little about the Krispy Kreme if y'all want to dive in and try one.
I think the first time, again, like I'd never had Krispy Kreme before, probably like 2002 or 2003. And I went to the one, it was in like Grapevine. It was like on the border of Grapevine, South Lake, Colleyville. And that was it was like right when I first moved to the area. And I was super stoked on it. Walked in, got a free donut. I was like, all right, you got my business. You gave me something free and hot and you fed it to me. All right, let's go. They looked longingly into my eyes while I took a bite of it. Like, it was magical.
I agree. So another thing that I think that Krispy Kreme has done very well is their logo and branding. Mm-hmm. Their colors are very red and green being like opposite colors. They go really well together. It's almost like Christmas, but it's one of those things where it tricks your brain into thinking this is a donut color. It's very diner-esque as far as like their font is concerned, and the way that they've done their restaurants, particularly when they first opened, it almost felt like walking into an old diner with like the chrome and just the way that they have their hats on. They all wore white. And they had like the paper hats. That was another thing, the Krispy Kreme, that was really cool. You'd get you a hot donut and they'd give you a little hat that went along with it. So Krispy Kreme was founded by Vernon Rudolph. He bought a yeast-raised recipe from a New Orleans chef. And then he rented a building in 1937 in what is now historic Old Salem, Winston-Salem, North Carolina. Then after he rented that building, he started selling to local grocery stores. And then they became a public company in 2000. So you can actually buy stock in Krispy Kreme. They're on the NASDAQ. Their call sign is DNUT. So if you need to...
Classic.
Yeah. Obviously, this is, there's probably some lore there with Vernon Rudolph and where he got his recipe and that whole thing. But
A fun fact about Krispy Kreme is, like you said, he went into grocery stores with it.
Yeah.
Because of that, they invented the donut box with like the window. I don't know, maybe not invented, but that is why they started making donut boxes. He used something that you could see through so that you could sell it retail.
Okay.
Because it's easier to sell a donut if you can see it.
Okay.
And that's why most donut shops, they don't have the window. You don't see the donut, but if you go to the grocery store, you got a windowed box.
I love that.
Yeah.
Good call. So it says here, 18-year-old Vernon, along with his brother Lewis, began working for his uncle Ishmael in a small general store in Paducah, Kentucky. And it had very popular donuts. It says the origin of the donut recipe still remains partially a mystery, but it's believed that Ishmael Armstrong, inspired by an Ohio River barge cook named Joseph LeBoeuf, who had famous light and fluffy donuts, inspired the recipe. So, yeah, like I said, this time in my life was very I remember being in the DFW because my dad was at seminary and I was in high school. And so there was a lot of church gatherings. And it was one of those things where if somebody bought Krispy Kreme, they waited in line, that they really cared about you. It says here, one of my favorite companies was acquired by Krispy Kreme in 2018. And that is the bakery chain Insomnia Cookies.
Oh, shit.
I don't know if you guys know Insomnia, but they make warm cookies and they also stay open till 2 or 3 in the morning, and they deliver as well. And some of my favorite cookies come from Insomnia, so that's pretty cool. Yeah. So, what do you guys think about this particular variety of donut? I'm gonna have one while y'all talk.
That was the first time I had one of these, and that was an excellent donut.
Yeah, I agree. That was a solid donut.
I think did Gene get out early?
Oh no.
no.
They're chasing Gene
They're
down.
chasing Gene.
I hope not.
He's on his way here. It's like
So it's-
Michael Myers when he gets out.
Solid
looking
donut,
for-
you say?
Yeah, very good. And usually I don't like cream filled, but this one I would get again.
Yeah, the cream on this, it's like a really light cream. It's not going to be your heavy, more pudding based or custard cream. Really, really solid donut. Flavor's good. The sweetness is good. Yeah, for a return to donuts, this was a solid pick.
Yeah, it tastes like I remember.
Kevin, anything you would change about this donut?
No, I think it's just great.
Yeah.
I think that I like that. I think that when you first bite into it, the chocolate is darker tasting than it looks.
Yep.
And then, like you said, the cream, it's sort of a mix between a powdered sugar icing and maybe a cream cheese icing almost.
Yeah.
It's like a kind of halfsies. But
it's really good though.
yeah, that's my favorite donut at Krispy Kreme. I probably could eat that whole 6 dozen by myself if I was by myself, but I'm not. So
You have to share with us.
I know. I thought this was pretty cool. Krispy Kreme has a sponsorship for a NASCAR vehicle, or they did at one point. I thought that was pretty cool. Check that thing out.
Hell yeah. That's
Hell yeah, brother.
Ass, brother.
That's a Ford Mustang right there, brother.
Hell yeah. Number 60. That's how many Krispy Kremes I could put back in one sitting.
60 Krispy Kremes. So yeah, if you're in the Fort Worth Float Company area, there's a Krispy Kreme right around the corner. Grab your chocolate ice cream filled donut, and then you can come right over here and get some cold plunge on, get some sauna on. So
Get your float on.
It'll help balance out all the sugar.
For real.
yeah, on a scale of 1 to 6 hot donuts, what is your rating for this donut this morning, Mr. Kevin O'Malley?
I'll give it a 5.5,
5.5.
just so there's a little room for something maybe I haven't
Almost
thought of.
perfect.
Yeah.
I'm gonna go 5.5 too. That was a good fucking 5.5. Yeah,
5.5.
I'm not gonna go back on that. Yeah.
Yeah, I'm right there with you. I'm gonna give it a 5. just because I'll balance it out on the low end. Because again, I always like pick my favorite things, and then I'm biased. I feel bad. I'm like, this is a perfect fucking donut, so I'll give it a 5.5, and it averages out 5.5 there. 5.333333.
Five pie.
Yeah.
Let's see what Calvin O'Malley thinks of it.
Oh yeah, Calvin.
Tiebreaker.
Calvin, come here.
He's got his buds in.
He's partying over there. Fun fact, the chairs that he's sitting in there, like the massage chairs, I got to help Kevin move those out of a home in Mansfield, or at least one of them, maybe not both, I don't remember. But we had to bring it from the second story of a nice home in Mansfield, Texas.
That's one of the least cool things that you could do in life is move anything.
It's surprisingly heavy.
As I remember, there was like a 3-year-old watching the Deadpool movie when we picked it up.
There was a lot of weird stuff. It was on the golf course. There was, definitely small child watching Deadpool. There was like a...
That's a recurring theme in this podcast is young people watching movies they shouldn't be watching.
Yeah. Man.
So Calvin, on a scale of 1 to 6, 1 being the worst, 6 being the best, the donut you just ate, could you give it a rating for us, please?
5.
5.
Nice.
So you heard it. Where there's no lying, there's no bias from the babes of what is it? From the mouths of babes. That's right. You know that he's telling the truth. Kids don't lie ever. They're perfect angels. So
You're about to be 9. The lying's coming.
yeah.
Just kidding.
Also,
Stay young forever.
While Calvin's over here, we'd be remiss if we didn't mention his One Piece shirt. Very cool.
Yo.
Yeah. Who's your favorite character, Calvin?
Luffy.
Luffy.
I haven't watched enough One Piece. It's a daunting task to undertake. It's like 1,200.
There's just so much. The show that you sent me, Fighting.
Oh, yeah.
Or whatever it's called.
It's like 97 episodes, and that's pretty short for an anime.
I know.
I've never seen it, but his grandfather in Japan, he's seen every episode. He's
really?
Die Hard.
Nice.
Yeah, my son is trying to watch all of it right now. I think he's told me where he's at in it, and I don't know enough to know, but I think he's around the halfway point.
It's got like 1,000-something episodes, right?
It's crazy.
So many.
I love when you get into the middle of it and you get that tunnel vision and you're just like, whoa, I went through like 100 episodes.
Yeah.
I've done that with like Dragon Ball Z.
Yeah.
I've done that with what's the other one?
Gundam Wing.
Nah.
I've done it with all the Gundam shows. Just get lost in that.
Crazy. You could get lost in any sort of anime, manga, television show like that very easily, and they're just kind of like soap operas, dramas for your mind. So let's move on. We already have heard from various listeners about the episode that just dropped 3 hours because we included some voicemails that we've received over the past couple of weeks right at the top. And so we kind of wanted to get a reaction. What are your general thoughts, Parker, on some of the voicemails that we received the past couple of weeks?
Well, we got the Muncho Maniac chiming back in, and he's wanting to eat hot dogs for breakfast, and I accept that challenge.
That was very 4th of July inspired voicemail. You could feel the patriotism. Just rip-roaring off of that
Muncho
voicemail.
Maniac is the biggest patriot I know.
Yeah, but he did lay down the gauntlet of a challenge, and that is eating hot dogs for breakfast, which is like, to me, not a challenge. That just seems like...
That sounds like something.
That just sounds like a fun time.
Yeah.
But we're issuing you a challenge, Muncho Maniac. It's a video challenge that will post on the Instagram.
Yeah, it'll go on Instagram.
And we've got a challenge for you, and that challenge is to come through and have as many hot dogs as you can in the cold plunge. I don't know if Kevin will let you eat in the cold plunge, but it might be a thing where you have to eat
no ketchup.
Yeah, well, maybe we can figure it out somehow.
Yeah.
We'll have a little tray across it.
Yeah.
So we had Muncho call in, lay down that challenge. We also had Kevin, our third co-host, call in and correct us on the Jean-Claude Van Damme Predator connection. We stand corrected. It's Michael Scott, Gary Clark Hall.
Michael Ian
Kevin
Scott.
Michael
Michael
Ian,
Hall.
Michael Gary Scott. Rolling in
Glenn
like
Gary, Glenn Ross.
Oh, dude, I love that movie. Slash
too.
play.
Yeah, being a big Predator fan, I felt like I had to.
Yeah, I mean, That's what the phone number is for.
Here's
It's
the
for
thing.
people to call in and correct us when we're wrong.
I mean, exactly. I
don't know how to do that.
lie a lot. I forget a lot. I tell tall tales. I know for a fact that the episode that dropped today, I was corrected on it before it even saw the light of day. So, I just bullshit. So
My wife's just now figuring that out in our relationship. We've been married for this year will be 13 years. And just this year, she started going, "Is that true?" You just say stuff like it's true, and I just think that she just
it's
now
all about
kind
the
of catching. Yeah,
confidence. If you say it with confidence, it's true. Whether I'm misremembering or not.
so in the past couple of months, she just starts fact checking me in real time, and I'm
Hold on, let me go to
99%
Wikipedia.
wrong. I'm 100% wrong.
It
most
did
of the
take her
time.
13 years to figure that out, though.
It's true. I
So
kept up the
pretty
charade
solid.
pretty
Yeah,
good, right?
That's pretty solid.
Solid. If you guys need tips on how to fool your wife for 13 years, hit us up at 682-294-0101, breakfastofchampspod@gmail.com. We also had, Kevin, we had to bring you back on because we had a kind of a disturbing voicemail left for us.
Yeah, I apologize in advance. I haven't heard the episode yet, but whatever he called and said, I'm sorry about it.
Yeah, he had our editor working overtime with the
Yeah.
beeps there.
Yeah,
so.
it was not family friendly for the podcast. So, he did end the call with Trump 2024, and he definitely used some hate speech in the call. So we had to bleep that out.
I block his number, but he always makes new phone numbers or borrows somebody's phone.
I mean,
he ends-
Burners.
Yeah, Gene seemed like a man of burner phones.
Well, every message anybody gets from him, he ends it with that. Like written letters, text messages, emails. He signs it on checks.
I'm scared to know where his mind is now after
I know.
recent events.
And
That's,
we are
scary.
talking about Gene, my older twin brother, in case you didn't.
Your older twin brother. He's
Yeah.
the evil twin.
Yeah.
He's definitely evil.
I definitely need a check-in from Gene after events that transpired over the weekend. I don't know if he's emboldened or maybe
He's definitely fired up now.
yeah.
He's also
Like most
out
of
now.
Trump's base, yeah.
Yeah,
so.
he said that he was he said that he was getting out on Tuesday. It is now Thursday. So Gene is now out in the wild. He does not have to call us from behind bars. So I'm going to be looking over my shoulder, and I am also I hope that he's not emboldened to do crazier things now that he's free.
I haven't seen him yet, but I know he's out there, and that makes it even scarier.
That's why whenever I heard that police siren really close, I was like, does he know when we're recording? Does he have the float company place tapped?
But does Gene train?
I mean, not in a school. He'll just get into street fights, and you think that's training.
Okay. Well, I feel safe with you, Kevin. You have a black belt in judo and jiu-jitsu, so
He's got the wild card factor, though. You never know what he's going to do.
So how's your leg, Kevin?
Oh, it's fine now.
Okay.
how bad did it hurt for how long?
It did hurt. It was sore till the next day, but not bruised, which is weird.
And
You don't bruise.
Apparently not.
did you happen to catch his fight?
I didn't see the fight, but I saw the controversial ending of it.
Yeah, we'll talk about that here in a bit, but yeah, it's part of the drama I want to talk about. But I just wanted to make sure we're both on the same page there.
Yeah,
so
definitely.
by your reaction, I can tell we are. So yeah, if you have a voicemail for us, if you want to leave us a message about corrections or anything like that, give us a call. Once again, that's 682-294-0101. We'll do our best to feature you as quickly as possible. Sometimes we'll get backed up and we have lives and that whole thing. So we're trying our best, it's a free show. So, next on the list, we're going to talk about that cold plunge. So, so last time we were here, I just want to be like, just for continuity's sake and just for like Kevin's sake as well. The last time that I was here, I was in a really weird mental place. Just being honest with you guys. So like if you heard the episode with like Kevin and the float company, the first episode, like that was just a weird time. And I was dealing with some like personal stuff and like just like not realizing that I was kind of like shutting people out and kind of like doing that weird thing where like I didn't feel like I deserved to be included in doing good things because I was, just in my own head. So I know just before we get into the cold plunge, if you are struggling with mental health problems and you need someone to talk to or you need someone to reach out to, please do that. I've got friends that are in my life that, personally, like I said, I was in a weird place, but I've got friends that have called me or texted me in the past couple of weeks that are kind of in that same boat where they just feel like they're kind of lost, aimless. I don't know if it's the doldrums of summer or just the fact that, whatever's happening around us in our society is just kind of grating on us and bringing us down or whatever. But like the biggest thing is that you like vocalize that. And so just reaching out to a friend and being like, hey, I'm in a shitty place really helps. And so before we recorded last time, like I kind of like pulled Parker aside and I was like, I just got into a fight with my wife. I'm just like not feeling it and that whole thing. And so, like I said, I think the last time we were here, we had, great grand ideas of like getting in cold plunge and like doing sauna and like having video of all that. And it was really my bad. So I just want to like, before we get into the cold plunge and before we like talk to Kevin further, just bring that up to you guys. I know that like, sometimes we get on here and we like put on this cool face and we're like, everything's great in our lives. And we're, this is it's hard to make sure that we're consistent with this and also keep our like personal lives, compartmentalized out of the podcast. Cause there are some days that we've recorded the podcast and you haven't slept, we just had been traveling or like, we have just been like, you guys don't realize that we also have kids and wives and that sort of thing. So just to keep it real, and just to kind of keep it real with Kevin, that last time we were here, I apologize, like I said, for being rushed and just kind of being out of here. But I came this morning prepared. I got my mind right before I got here this morning. I woke up and just got my swimsuit on and put on my rash guard. I thought I was going to need it, but I didn't. Kevin was like, pop that shirt right off. So we got here and set up. And the first thing we did was we all cold plunged for 3 minutes. And that's the first time I've ever done it.
It was all three of us in the tub at the same time.
3 guys, 1 tub.
3 bros, 1 tub.
3 bros, 1 tub.
It's our new YouTube channel. Check it out. So I guess, Kevin, tell us, for people who don't know what a cold plunge is, I think we kind of got into it on the last episode, but if they didn't hear it, tell us about the cold plunge and the benefits and all that.
Yeah, so it's basically an ice bath without the ice. It has a chiller built in, so the water is always circulating and being cooled down. There are a lot of benefits. A big one is, mental toughness, because it is something you don't really want to do, but you do it, and then you realize it wasn't that bad, and you feel good about just making yourself do that. Physical benefits, when I do it regularly, I'm hardly ever sore anymore. That's a big one for me. And it also does a lot for your immune system, especially when you combine it with the sauna. Because, those two modalities are really great on their own, but then it's pretty much a 100-degree temperature difference between the two. It really does a lot for getting your body to regulate its temperature on its own, and also just kind of helping you avoid getting sick and those usual things that can come up.
Oh, yeah. Because I know it helps with like inflammation and stuff, and I woke up this morning and my whole like right lower back and right hip were killing me. And I was like, oh man, I'm so glad we're cold plunging this morning. And it already feels so much better. Like when you're in it, you can't think about anything that hurts because it's so cold that all you can think about is how fucking cold you are. But now I can definitely feel like my lower back has loosened up quite a bit and my hip is feeling better, and it's amazing.
Yeah, I think one of the mechanisms for that is all your blood goes to your core just to help keep everything warm. And then getting out, especially if you go to the sauna, it goes back out to the extremities, which also improves circulation a lot. Mm-hmm. Like one of the biggest things I noticed when I first started was I got that pins and needles feeling in my feet really bad. Yeah. But after doing it a few times, that went away. And my dad, he has peripheral neuropathy, which is a condition where you have poor blood flow to your feet. Like he can't even feel his anymore. It's so bad. So if there's some inherited trait there, I'm hoping that it mitigated that for me.
Yeah, absolutely.
So we were in for a total of 3 minutes. And what was the type? You said 38?
I think it was 43 when we started.
43. Okay. So yeah, if you've never done cold plunge, you kind of want to ease your way into it. I accidentally lost my balance and splashed a little bit, but you kind of want to ease your way down into it. Kevin was kind enough to not make me like dunk my head or like get all up in my chest area. So I was up to probably about like mid belly, and all of my lower extremities were in. And then for that last minute, Kevin was like, put your hands in. And I was like, oh, God. I only made it about 45 seconds of that last minute with my hands in. It was just too much. I started shivering. So it's the little tiny adjustment of putting your hand in that just like, my brain was like, too much.
And I've heard that shiver is kind of what you're aiming for, because that supposedly is an indication of burning brown fat.
Oh, perfect. Then I did it right.
Hell yeah. I
Fucking expert first time.
nailed it. Fucking nailed it.
I really, in my brain, it's exactly like Kevin said, your brain is telling every part of you that you do not want to do what you're about to do. And then you just kind of like override your brain with like the decision, like your caveman decision of like, fuck the brain, we're getting in this. And then once you're in it, obviously you kind of have to breathe your way through it. But it really, like you said, this knee was killing me. My back was a little tight. That 3 minutes has done more for me than, probably like 30 minutes of stretching or foam rolling or anything like that. So recovery, if you have any soreness or any sort of aches and pains, the first time I felt a little relief from that. So, thank you so much for allowing us to do that and experience that.
Yeah, and it's fantastic for recovery, but my favorite times to do it are about maybe 2 hours before I go to judo. I feel like it really gives me more energy for that.
I can see that for sure. The second I got out and started warming back up, I was like, fuck, this is great.
So I think I read a study, and Kevin, you probably have heard this too, but the cold plunge is the same, like it hits the same receptors as like cocaine basically, and it gives you a similar effect.
Yeah, I think I have heard that.
And, cocaine is horrible for you. Look at Conor McGregor. So this is a healthy way that you don't have to worry about ruining your life or ending your life. So, hey, if you want to do a bump, maybe just come do a cold plunge instead. It's also a lot cheaper.
Come here and get addicted to this.
That's right. You won't have to pull out of any of your fights. You can just take a bump of that cold plunge, and then you'll be right back in the mix. You won't have to worry about USADA knocking at your door for the cocaine.
It'll also keep your toes from breaking.
Oh, okay.
I don't know if that's true. Not medically proven.
Well,
I lie a lot.
I've never broken a toe.
Okay, you heard it here first.
It'll help you not break toes. So,
all right, Conor McGregor, come on down.
So Kevin had a really great idea. We want to give him the entire credit for this idea. I'm typing his name as I'm saying it. But he was talking about, obviously he corrected us with the blood sport and as far as like
Predator with Jean.
Oh, I'm sorry, with Predator.
He's a Jean-Claude Van Damme historian.
Yeah, with the Predator thing while we were on our blood sport sort of review, if you will. And so his idea was if we were to make a remake of Bloodsport, or if we were to recast Bloodsport today, who would we like to see in some of these characters' places? And so I've got the character list pulled up here on the old IMDb, and we can kind of go through this and kind of recast with some more modern day people, actors, maybe influencers, famous people.
Yeah, I'm very like, so Kevin texted me this like earlier in the week or late last week or something, and I was like, oh man, this is a great idea. Like, I know that we don't agree with Bloodsport being remade because it's a perfect movie. But if they were like to give it the Roadhouse treatment, like we could also talk who would want to direct it.
Yeah.
Even, cause New Arnold that directed the original, I don't know if he's done anything else that I'm familiar with.
Well, let's take a look. Newt Arnold also has done The Godfather Part 2, Blade Runner, War Games.
So he was a second unit or assistant director on these, directed Bloodsport.
Let's see here.
Oh, he's done a lot of like first and second assistant director stuff.
Yeah, he really has.
Ninja Turtle, Secret of the Ooze. And so what's cool is usually the second unit director is the one who's doing a lot of the stunt work.
First AD.
So yeah, that makes sense for him to do Bloodsport because he was doing a lot of the like filming the stunt scenes.
Yeah.
Okay, cool. Well, I'm glad we went down that rabbit hole.
So yeah, let's start off top. So if you were to pick maybe a different director for Bloodsport, more modern director, who you thinking? You want to go director first before we jump into cast?
Sure.
And I think with anybody here, we don't want big names. I think that's one of the good things about this is of course, Jean-Claude Van Damme, we all know him now. At the time, he probably wasn't the superstar he is.
Right,
Think
yeah.
of him.
And the budget for this film was super low
Yeah.
as well. So it's not like we're going to go get fucking Steven Spielberg or anything like that. We wouldn't want him anyway for this. But
And by the way, this thought came because we were listening to the last episode, and then that inspired young Calvin O'Malley here to want to watch Bloodsport again.
oh, all right.
So if he has any input on the original, just let us know.
Any words on Bloodsport?
No.
Did you have a favorite part of Bloodsport?
No.
No. All right.
My thought as far as director is concerned right now, the only one that kind of comes to mind that's not super humongously big, that's kind of like on the come up, maybe would be, I don't know if Ty West is
Ooh.
into,
Well, that could be interesting.
he takes
He does more horror, but he
know.
did do In the Valley of Violence, which is a Western.
and I also think that like also not having like a maybe quote unquote horror director or I'm sorry, not a quote unquote action director or someone
Yeah.
that's like super into action movies to take a different look at it. Maybe even a more brutal look. You know what I mean?
Yeah,
No,
I-
that's an interesting take. I like that.
I think
He's also just in the ether right now because of Maxine and Pearl and X. But
Yeah.
sorry, you think?
yeah, whoever did it, and if it was redone, I think one thing that should be played up more is like the grittiness and brutality of it.
Yeah, that's kind of why I went there because I want to see like the first time I watched. Have you seen X?
Yes.
Have you seen X?
Yes, I have.
So like the first time that Pearl kills someone and like it's, I mean, like that didn't
Yeah.
stop for a good 30, 45 seconds. I was like, when is this going to end? My tummy does not like this.
Oh, I
So,
got
like,
some
someone
movies for
that's,
you
like-
on Tubi if you didn't like that.
So that's just kind of like my first thought as far as like maybe a horror or like a Rob Zombie or you know what I mean, like the beer horror movie. So that way you
Yeah.
can get the more brutality thing. But I just pulled up here the top 50 upcoming directors.
I like that Ryan Coogler's number one.
Yeah,
I mean, he did Creed, which was fantastic.
yeah.
Alex Garland, that's really interesting. His most recent one was Civil War.
I think so. Yeah.
Yeah.
hmm
Oh man, Taika Waititi.
But some of these we wouldn't be able to get just because of price point. I mean,
Yeah.
you're not going to get a Ryan Coogler to do a lower budge
You'd be surprised.
unless it's just a passion project. You know?
Actually, I'm not sure. So don't quote me on this because again, I don't know what I'm talking about. But he might be working on a UFC movie, like in some small part.
Yann Demange, Lovecraft Country,
Oh yeah, that show was cool.
but also Top Boy.
I didn't see that.
So Top Boy is like the Wire's, the UK's version of The Wire,
Okay.
but more, I'd say more gritty. They deal with a lot of like, because, you know, a lot of over there, there's not a lot of gunplay because,
Yeah.
you know, of how illegal it is. So you've got a lot of like knives and like machetes and
Lots
acid
of people
and
on like Vespas driving around throwing
Yeah.
acid at people.
so yeah, maybe what's old boy that does Jordan Peele?
Yeah,
Like somebody like that.
I've got two.
Go.
This guy, I just looked him up and apparently he's retired. His name is Ben Ramsey.
Okay.
He did a movie called Blood and Bone.
Okay.
I've seen that. I like that one.
Yeah, Blood and Bone's really good, and it's kind of in the similar style as Bloodsport. It stars Michael Jai White, who is also a martial artist.
Yeah.
Who I would also probably cast in the Kickboxer remake. I love Michael Jai White.
That
But so Ben Ramsey, he did Blood and Bone. He also wrote The Big Hit with Mark Wahlberg. That
Yes,
was
he
like
did.
his first big hit. He also had a part in Don't Be a Menace to South Central while drinking your juice in the hood.
So we have street cred.
Yeah. He also wrote Dragon Ball Evolution, which was the Dragon Ball Z live action movie that was terrible. So I'd love to give him like hey, come make something awesome.
Yeah, I mean, that sounds good to me. I'll go with that guy.
Yeah, and then the other guy, he actually just released a movie, and I'm only familiar with two of his movies. His name is Michael Sarnowski.
Mm-hmm.
He did a movie called Pig starring Nicolas Cage.
Okay.
And Nicolas Cage is like this former chef who lives out in the woods of Oregon, and he has this prize truffle pig, and he just goes hunting truffles, and he sells them to chefs in Portland and all this. And they like kind of, it starts out, they sold it more as like a John Wick type movie,
Okay.
where somebody steals his pig, and then he goes on like a hunt for vengeance for the pig. And there's definitely action in it, but it's kind of like understated and like brooding. And I think that he would do well because he also just directed A Quiet Place Day One, which is like his first major studio outing. And it had lots of really good action scenes with like the monsters and stuff. It had some jump scares. It had lots of tension, but it boiled down to like this really awesome human story. And it had very similar themes to Pig of like relationships with animals, with nature, stuff like that. And so I think that he could do a cool take on Bloodsport remake, and he's also a director to watch.
Nice. I gave very popcorn answers. You're a little bit more in depth with the AMC connection there. So let's go right into it. Do you
Kevin,
want to?
who are you choosing?
Yeah, Kevin, give us some thoughts.
I don't really have any thoughts on it. I'm not
Okay.
too familiar with any directors.
I'm right there with you. I know peripherally directors, but let's save Jean-Claude Van Damme's character for last, maybe.
Yeah.
Okay. So I think this one would be a fun one. Who do we have for Jackson? Originally played by Donald Gibb. Jackson's character was the character that was like the Street Fighter-esque
Post
character.
Malone, duh.
Wow.
I'm kidding. Not Post Malone.
So
honestly,
a bigger guy, maybe tattooed, biker kind of.
I said Michael Jai White earlier that I'd want to cast him, and I feel like he's a little bit older, but he can still hold his own. And maybe Jackson.
I don't know about that.
Yeah.
Only because Michael Jai White is known for like speed and like elegance and like
So
being
CGI
like,
Post Malone.
no. But like the fact of Jackson's character never using a single martial art in the entire movie.
I guess that's true. Yeah.
It'd be
yeah.
kind of like a counterintuitive there with Michael Jai White. You want to show
Would
off
change-
his
yeah.
martial arts, you know.
Yeah, Action Bronson in that role.
Perfect. I mean, there's no need to go further.
Yeah.
In my opinion.
Okay.
Kevin, do you know Action Bronson?
I've heard the name, but not familiar with who he
Okay,
is.
let me pull up a picture. Action Bronson is a rapper from New York. He is one of the former chefs for the New York Mets. And whenever he slipped and fell in the kitchen, he broke his leg and decided to become a rapper. And so he's got a lot of food references. He's got a lot of sports references. He's got a television program called Fuck That's Delicious. He is also has lately been into fitness.
And he's specifically into like kettlebell training and mace and like functional fitness things. I forget the like hydro bag. I see him using that a whole lot. So yeah, like that's
a great casting for him, I think. I mean, he's obviously got
he's got the look for
He's
sure.
got the look. He usually comes out on stage in kind of like wrestling gear. He usually wears like a tank top, elbow pads. Whenever he was first coming up, before he got like super popular, like more like Pitchfork crowd-esque, he was like DDTing people from the crowd. He was like,
Actually, I changed my answer just based on this.
no?
I got a better answer.
Oh, okay.
We can keep going down Action Bronson.
No,
honestly,
you're good.
But I got another answer for this character.
So how big is this guy?
Oh, that's a good question.
He does have the look, but one of the things about Jackson was he was, I think, even bigger
Imposing?
than Chong Li. Yeah.
Yeah, like he was definitely over 6 foot. Maybe like I've always assumed he was like 6'4" to 6'6" range, like just a big dude.
5'9".
Yeah, a little
Okay.
too short.
A little too short.
Okay, here's my next one, and this is a pro wrestler who also plays in a hardcore band. Brody King.
Okay.
He's in what is that? He's this lead singer of God's Hate. He's a massive human being. Actually, at Sound and Fury this past weekend, he like did a wrestling move on a stage diver.
6'3", 285.
Yeah, it's like just a big dude, intimidating, loves violence. I think that he would also be a good fit for Jackson.
I'm down for that.
He's got the look and the size.
Let's see if we can pull up some more. Brody?
I'm gonna see if I can pull up this video.
What is his name?
Not Brody
King.
Stevens.
Stevens.
King.
Brody King.
Stephen Brody Stevens.
Yes. Positive push. I love. Rest in peace, Brody Stevens. That just made me really
He was
sad.
such a good guy.
All right.
He's got. Does he have a straight edge jacket here?
Yeah, he's straight edge.
Even better.
Here he is on stage from this past weekend. Yeah.
All right.
I think that he would be a great Jackson. Man, I wish I could find this video. I'm sure I'll find it on the internet and I'll send it to y'all. But wait, here it comes. Boom! Right into the crowd. Yeah,
That's perfect.
so. Yeah, I think
Brody King equals Jackson.
Yeah, I think he'd be a good one.
All right. So next on the list we have Janice, who's playing the sexy reporter, because Leah Ayers was not that. How
Kevin,
old was she?
Before we get into that, I think she's fairly attractive. And I got to contend what you guys said about her last time.
I'm sorry.
There's definitely, she does have kind of that 80s look, but
Yeah.
there's definitely people who have that more. And I think she's not too far off from beauty standards today.
So she reprises her role.
Well, no, I just
I'm
wanted
just
to
kidding.
argue about last time.
No, I
Okay.
know. Yeah, I agree with you. There's some there's definitely that 80s look for ladies, and that's sort of one of those things where if you go back and watch Christmas Vacation is one I always think about, because you have Beverly D'Angelo, who is sexy and very 80s in that movie, but then you had that supermodel that was at the counter
Yeah.
who did not look 80s at all.
Yeah.
To
That's
me.
true.
So yeah, you have that converseness there, but
I'm wearing those right now. that whole scene is classic.
can't see the line, can you, Russ? So let's objectify women here for a moment. And who is a pretty lady that could play a reporter that is into uncovering the secrets of the Kumite?
You going with Kevin?
Well, still not unknown, but not a huge star. Alexandra Daddario, or however you say her name.
Yeah,
I'd
I'd
be
watch
into that.
anything with her. And
Yeah.
Let's
she's
take
in,
a look.
True Detective season 1.
Oh, I don't need to look it up.
Yeah, yeah,
That's Woody Harrelson's side piece in that one.
Yep.
Okay.
yeah. You put her in anything, I'm watching it.
Yeah.
That's a good choice. Yeah,
Being brown haired but in Asia, I still think she has a good time, getting her way into an underground fighting event. She got the blue eyes. She has other things going for her.
Again, I'm pulling up beautiful young actresses
I
on
mean,
IMDb.
we talked about Ty West earlier, so Mia Goth is
Yeah.
one of the best right now. I don't know if she would necessarily do great in that role, but I would be totally down to see her in that. Ooh, Elizabeth Olsen.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I'm trying to think of maybe someone that's not as well known that would do well.
Yeah.
That would be a good one. Zoe Kravitz.
Yeah. She was great in Batman, so yeah, that
And
could
also
definitely be interesting.
a little diversity to the cast.
Yeah.
As far as not necessarily being it must be a white lady. Because that's
True.
what it was in the original one.
We got to get Kathleen Kennedy in on this.
Also, would be good too. And in my opinion, could probably maybe play herself is Laura Senko from the UFC. I don't know if you know her. Laura Senko. She's a sideline reporter or whatever
yeah.
for the UFC, but she also trains martial arts. So if there was ever like a scene that like, she was an MMA, she competed professionally for Invicta. So if there was ever like a scene where she kind of got roughed up, she could handle her own. Plus, she's very knowledgeable of like MMA and UFC, and kind of is not necessarily known as an actress. Maybe.
Absolutely. Yeah, that would be very cool.
Between her and then like Megan O'Leary is the other one that calls. But Megan O'Leary is actually married to a UFC fighter. That guy.
Oh, okay.
I forget what his name is, but she's married to that guy. But she's another one that would be like sideline reporter. There's her standing on a box talking to Kevin Holland. So yeah, there's a lot of young, pretty actresses. Like you said, you got Mia Goth.
Yeah.
And then Halsey is also in Maxine.
Yeah.
And she's kind of making her way into the acting game.
Halsey too.
Yeah. Any musician, we could just do a musician one if we did this too. Like you have like
Get Billie Eilish in on there.
no, I was thinking more of Haley Williams from Paramore.
Okay. Yeah, I can
Like
see
a
that.
non-actor kind of
Yeah.
in that
definitely
role.
see that.
All right. What about, you want to do the cops?
Yeah.
So we got Helmer and Rollins. I could see Michael Jai White
That's kind of with Helmer.
being, no, Rollins.
Oh, Rollins. I'm trying to switch it up.
Oh, okay.
And he's also a little bit older now because Forrest Whitaker was young in this.
That's true. That's true.
So Michael
Yeah.
Jai White would
So
be
Michael
the
J.
age
White
of-
would be the aging agent that
Yeah.
also like, but he knows some stuff.
Yeah, he can
handle
hold his
himself.
own. Yeah. That's what I'm thinking is
Okay. So then we need a younger person for Rollins.
I think, let's get a little wild and have Forrest Whitaker be the old one in the remake.
Yeah, and then Michael Jai White.
I have
They're about the same age, probably.
I have a fun Forrest Whitaker aside. It's a shout out to my mother-in-law. She was in court one time and was getting into it with a judge, and the judge had a lazy eye, and she goes, "Shut your mouth, you Forrest Whitaker looking ass bitch."
Whoa. This is your
And
mom?
This is my mother-in-law.
Oh, mother-in-law. Okay.
And I've always said that I'm going to get I don't have any portrait tattoos, but I want to get a Forrest Whitaker like ghost dog portrait with that quote underneath it.
That's good. Any young buck actors that could play like dumb though? Because he was kind of clueless in that, wasn't he? He was like,
Yeah.
"Oh, I'm falling in the lake."
I feel like
I think Post Malone would be that good character.
I think it needs to be somebody who's more of a comedian than
More
that.
of a comedian.
Like more of like an up and coming comedian type. Like I'm thinking like Saturday Night Live, but
Okay.
I'm also not super familiar with the current Saturday Night Live cast. But someone who kind of fits that role of like,
Snarky.
yeah,
Maybe like a Tony Hinchcliffe.
I could see that. Yeah,
Like a smaller but still imposing in his personality.
yeah, absolutely.
Michael Che, is that his name?
Oh yeah,
Oh,
I
yeah.
could see that. I could definitely
Yeah.
see that.
Very sarcastic and sardonic.
Yeah.
Would probably match up height wise with like a Forrest Whitaker or Michael J. White, whichever
Yeah.
way we went in that way. Let's see who we got for Tiger Tanaka. Who's going to train our main character? Why don't we make Michael Tiger Tanaka since he's
Okay.
older?
And Forrest Whitaker is
And
Helmer.
Forrest Whitaker's
Boom.
Helmer.
Okay. Yeah.
And then we've got, I keep on hitting this, but then we've got Michael Che as Rollins. And then we've got, I don't know who's Special Lady.
Well, for Tanaka, pretty much any time they need a Japanese guy, they have Hiroyuki Sanada from Shogun
Mm-hmm.
or Ken Watanabe.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Who's
They're
the guy that
both
plays?
great actors, but I don't know if I want either one of them. Maybe somebody more unknown.
What's his name? Who's the guy that plays? I keep on going to images when I don't mean to.
Well, I would say David Carradine, R.I.P.
Gordon Liu.
Mm.
He doesn't look old enough, though.
I'm talking about the guy that.
Are you talking Sonny Chiba?
Yeah, Sonny Chiba.
Yeah.
That'd be a good one.
Yeah.
Sonny Chiba.
I believe he passed away, though, didn't he?
Oh God, here we go.
I
Fact
think
checking us live.
He might have.
No.
I feel like I
Don't
did a
you do
Sonny
it to me.
Chiba marathon.
Oh,
Yeah.
2021. Who's the guy that plays in John Wick that's blind?
Donnie Yen.
Oh, Donnie Yen would be good.
Yeah.
That's
Donnie
a good
Yen's
one, right?
awesome.
This guy right here? But
Donnie-
is he old enough to be a Tanaka?
I mean,
He looks old enough. I don't care, but he's Chinese. Some people might care about that.
That's true. Got to keep it. Well, we can come back to Tanaka if we think of somebody. So let's see here. Let's go to maybe Chong Li. Who do we have as the villain for someone we see as like killing someone
Yeah, this was a tough one for me.
and believing it?
Because I think, with it being said in underground Hong Kong, it should be an Asian person.
What if we change the setting?
We could, but I think the setting was a big part of the movie.
Because the Walloon
Yeah.
walled
Yeah,
city's no longer
right.
there, right?
No.
Yeah. I was thinking like if we change the setting, then we could make it a different nationality, and then we could kind of flip the script on who has to be what. But let's see here.
Yeah, because it was a Japanese event, but it was set in Hong Kong.
Yeah. Let's do this.
But my thoughts were a little more known, so maybe not, but Dave Bautista, he could be a good Chong Li.
Oh yeah.
yeah.
Or a judo guy who's still doing MMA now, and some acting, Satoshi Ishii.
Okay.
He's a big, giant guy. He could be pretty intimidating.
That'd be awesome.
Oh. What about I know he's not a big guy, but the Korean zombie?
Yeah, he could be good,
Because
but I
let's
do
see.
like the size
let's
of the
see,
guy. I think
big Asian actors. I don't even know how to spell Asian right.
Your Google search is
I know it's
gonna
gonna be
betray you. Big Asian. This could go a few different ways.
0 results.
all right.
Lucy Lou's number one. Oh, Kim Jong.
Dr. Ken. I didn't mean big as in popular. I meant in stature. The biggest Asian actors in Hollywood right now. Let's see here. Chow Yun-fat. Jackie Chan. Jet Li. They're still the most popular ones.
Yeah. Legends never die.
I guess that's true, but what have they done for me lately?
Good point.
Man, this is going to prove to be tough if we
Yeah.
have to stick with Chong Li being...
Yeah, one of the challenges for any of the fighters was, as far as I know, there aren't a whole lot of good martial arts movie stars right now.
Yeah, you're right.
Yeah.
We had to pull from MMA to get anyone for Roadhouse. I guess we could do that too. I mean, we have been kind of, but let's see here. Any of these other ones? So who are you going to go for Frank? Who's going to be our Frank, do you think? Because you can't do... You've already got like Roadhouse, so no Gyllenhaal.
That's okay. Like
No
Gyllenhaal
Connor.
was good for that. Like,
Yeah.
You need somebody different for that.
Who's going to be the next American actor?
I was actually thinking Michael Jai White for Frank,
Oh.
which I think some people would get upset calling him a DI hire, which I'm happy to piss those people off.
Yeah.
But I do think he'd do a good job about it.
Yeah, I think so too. I think there's probably not anybody more apt as far as their martial arts skill and also their acting is concerned.
Yeah.
That could handle it.
My second choice, though, a lot from seeing the Iron Claw was Jeremy Allen White.
Ooh, actually,
I think he'd be good.
I think he would. Yeah, he would. It would bring that. You know how like all movies now, like action movies, the actors are always like brooding, like stars. And obviously in the 80s they weren't brooding the same way, but I feel like he would bring that like 2020s like brooding action star, and he's got the look. Like, yeah, that's a great pick.
And he
Yeah.
beefed up really well for the
Yeah.
movie as well. So
He wouldn't have the campiness of Jean-Claude Van Damme, but he would. I can see him actually looking upset about his sensei dying.
yeah.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's a great pick.
Good call.
actually.
I like that, Kevin. Thank you. Anybody else that we have to cast? Is there anybody that stands out that needs to be mentioned?
I don't think so.
I don't think so either. I think that just for comedic relief. I think that maybe Ken Jeong could be the translator slash, you know what I mean? Like the guy with the glasses.
Absolutely.
The guide. Yeah, that's the one. So yeah, if you've got any great suggestions for who should be recast in this fictional Bloodsport movie we're making, shout us out on phone call or email or even on the socials. We've got a little bit more time here before I got to get off to work. So let's move on to any MMA drama that's happened in the past week that we haven't talked about previously. So one thing that I brought up just quickly, cursorily, is if you've been keeping up with us, we've talked about Nate Diaz versus Jorge Masvidal's boxing match. So the scuttlebutt there is that Fanmio is the company, the production company that put on this event. They promised Nate Diaz $10 million with a signing bonus of $1 million and then $9 million to follow after the event. His lawyers and him were very concerned about this. They asked for the guarantee in writing. They've got text messages, they've got emails, they've got guarantees from this company that they have the money, that the money actually went into escrow for the sanctioning to even happen for the event. So it's not a matter of whether or not the money is available. It's just like turning it over to Nate Diaz. And so Fanmio is not a top tier company. It's not like Top Rank. It's not like the UFC. It's not like anything like that. It's one of those production companies that's trying to make a name for itself. The only other combat sports event that they put on was Jake Paul versus Floyd Mayweather a few years ago. So it was a gamble for Nate Diaz and Jorge to take this fight. Obviously, if you're going to pay Nate 10, you're going to pay Jorge 10. So I don't know if Jorge got paid or not. Yeah. But the CEO of Fanmio, in a text message to Nate Diaz, basically said, if I give you this $9 million, my wife will divorce me. And so I think he was trying to play to Nate's sympathy, maybe try to get some more time. But Nate and his lawyers were obviously prepared for that. They had already filed a lawsuit in Florida. And so that lawsuit will be played out over the next probably couple weeks, months, to see if Nate gets his $9 million. But the thing that kind of like puts, that I was telling Parker, that kind of puts a little tickle in the back of my ear for all that is the fact that if Nate is expecting income and then he doesn't get income, that kind of maybe like puts some of his plans like off. And so if there's a need for income, I know of one promotion that will definitely pay Nate Diaz. So if this lawsuit kind of like sours Nate as far as like trying to like drum up his own business and trying to like be out on his own promotion, I think there's probably a path for him to come back to the UFC.
Absolutely. I'd love to see it.
So that's kind of the drama when it comes to that is concerned. There's some more drama brewing when it comes to who's letting the cat out of the bag for the Sphere card. So I don't know if you watched the last weekend's UFC event, but if you were in French Canada and you were listening to their simulcast, their announcers accidentally let out some information about who the headliners were going to be for the Sphere event in September. Riyadh Season Presents UFC Noche. And apparently they had some sort of information that said that Max Holloway and Ilia Topuria were going to headline, and that Sugar Sean O'Malley and Merab Dvalishvili were going to co-headline. And so everybody kind of took that information and went like buck wild with it. Somebody even made a fake poster, and the socials were kind of blowing up. But I guess the UFC put word out to a couple of different media agencies to get the word out that that is not the fight that's going to happen. So I text Parker. I was like, this is going to be a great card. But apparently that's not happening. And so now we've kind of got this event that is kind of weird and in jeopardy for like who's going to headline. So from what I hear, the only for sure event that's happening that night is Alexa Grasso will be fighting Valentina Shevchenko for her belt. And Sugar Sean has stated that he is training for the Sphere event. So in my mind, I'm thinking Sugar Sean Merab Dvalishvili is going to be the headliner. Alexa Grasso, Valentina Shevchenko is going to be the co-headliner. The other weird thing about this event, though, is Dana said that there's only going to be 10 fights, which is a light pay-per-view card is 12 or 13.
Yeah.
So he also stated that he's already into this for $17 million, and it's not even September yet.
Yeah, I was going to say, like, if they're doing it at the Sphere, it's going to definitely be expensive. Like, one of the more expensive productions to put on.
So yeah, this is also the first time they have a co-promoter. Riyadh Season, Sheikh El Turki has lent in some promotion there. So this is not just a UFC event. This is going to be a Riyadh Season event as well. It's going to be the first time that's ever going to be from the Sphere. And so the scuttlebutt for this is that there may be some sort of way, some sort of like background push for Khabib to come out of retirement and fight Conor. Now that the Conor-Michael Chandler fight is kind of blown up. The UFC just re-released their last fight. They're calling it muted, which is basically they removed all the fighter commentary off of the top of it. So you can hear the fighters when they're talking. You can hear the cornermen give their instructions. They've got it all translated out there for you. And so in my mind, there's no reason to re-release this fight unless you're trying to like drum up some sort of like rivalry hate from that era.
Absolutely. And that would, that would definitely get people buying the pay-per-view, and that would be huge, especially the first, UFC fight at the Sphere, like legendary historic moment.
Yeah, so I mean, if you're unfamiliar with Khabib, he's probably when he retired, he was the pound for pound fighter. He's never lost, 29-0 from Dagestan. He's also coaching Islam Makhachev right now, and some of his various friends and family members that live out in that area. He also had Golden Eagle Promotions for a minute. That they haven't put on an event in a while, so. In my mind, I'm thinking he doesn't have any fights coming up promotion-wise. The UFC's kind of in shambles with everybody pulling out and having different contract disputes, not in the sense of they're in shambles of they're going to close up a shop or anything, but as far as like their organizational skills and planning when it comes to these fights. Got a lot of people pulling out, a lot of people, big names that are, trying to shuffle their, like Michael Chandler straight up hasn't fought in 2.5 years because he's been waiting on Conor.
That's wild.
So I think that had he not taken that Conor fight and just fought like a regular schedule, he might even be retired by now.
Yeah.
He was on his way out anyway. So there's going to be kind of like I would say a new class of like who the face of the UFC is coming up. We've got obviously Poatan is making his rounds as far as like being the face of the UFC, and you've got Sugar Sean, you've got Israel and Drakus coming up. That's something to look forward to. That's the last thing as far as MMA drama is concerned. Are you familiar with Israel Adesanya, Drakus Duplessis?
A little bit, yeah.
Kevin, you kind of know about it a little bit?
Yeah, I've read about it.
Yeah. So Drakus is from South Africa, and he lives in South Africa, trains in South Africa, was born there, lives there, blah, 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 blah. At one point, I don't know if Israel kind of like took this and kind of made it his, like, this is my reason to fight this guy or whatever. But there was some talk of Drakus basically saying he was the real African champion. Because Israel Adesanya lives in New Zealand and Kamaru Usman lives in America and Francis Ngannou lived in France or wherever he was living at the time. And so his point was he's the only one that is
Still
from
lives
Africa
there.
and that still lives there. And so Israel took that really, really, really to heart. And so the night that Drakus Duplessis won and they had Israel Adesanya front row, you could tell that Izzy was really drunk. And they brought him in, and he got in Drakus's face, and the first thing he was like, "What's up, my N-word? What's up, my brother, my African brother? Now I'm here in your face, blah, blah, blah." And Drakus got really shook, I think. I don't think that he wanted to go that route as far as like make it super racial and like go that route. And so they let them cool off for a minute, but that fight is now back on.
Okay.
And so that whole like racially filled tirade, I went back and watched it again, and I was just like, man, I can't believe I saw that live because Israel is real drunk. You could tell he was sloppy and slurring his words and definitely let the N-word fly about 10, 15 times right in his face. And so that's kind of a little drama for you if you're into like some of the background drama, not to mention that we've got fights that are happening this weekend. So like I said, if you're joining us, let's see here. Close. Events. Upcoming.
We got coming up this week.
So the next couple of days, if you're listening to this, you will have seen Amanda Lemos versus Virna Jandiroba. That's the UFC fight night. That's happening Saturday, July 20th here in a couple of days, or if you're listening to this, it just happened. On this card, we've got Brad Tavares and Junyoung Park as the co-main. You've got Steve Garcia versus Seung-Won Choi from South Korea. You've got Kurt Hollabaugh and Kanan Khrushchevsky, Cody Durden, Bruno Silva, Duho Choi versus Bill Algeo. You've got Jung Young Lee versus Hyder Emil, Brian Kelleher versus Cody Gibson, Miranda Maverick versus Diana Barbosa, or Dion Barbosa. Loic, I'm going to get these names.
I'm impressed.
Loic Radzhabov versus Trey Ogden, Luana Carolina versus Lucy Puldova, and then Mohammed Usman versus Thomas Peterson. That is the full lineup for this card. We've touched base on it a little bit the last episode, but we've got a local fighter that's fighting right off the rip. So please tune in and watch Mohammed Usman versus Thomas Peterson. That is the first fight. Mohammed is a local fighter from Dallas. He's also the brother to Kamaru Usman.
Yeah, Muhammad has actually been in here to float several times.
Oh, that's awesome.
Yeah, so we've got, speaking of someone that's been here, in MMA drama, we had Abdullah Razak Al Hassan fight last weekend and kind of had a controversial stoppage for too many blows to the back of the head. But we were talking to Parker. I was talking with Parker earlier, and you could kind of maybe, if you read about it or saw some highlights from it, I don't think that some of those were to the back of the head. I think that he was doing his best to aim off to the side, to the ear, and really was cognizant of where he was placing some of those blows.
He wasn't the only one aiming off to the ear. Sorry.
No, it's all good.
I don't get it.
We'll ask Gene about it on his next call.
I really think that we should have given him a warning and restarted the fight. But
Yeah, I mean, that was most of the fight because I didn't see anything besides what was controversial, which is maybe 30 seconds into it.
correct. Well, that's the whole fight. Yeah.
But, my understanding is he got a good hit. Other guy went for a single leg. That's how they ended up in that position. And watching what they said were the 12-6 elbows or hitting him in the back of the head. Maybe one was. The rest were all deliberately on the side or with his forearm.
Yeah.
Which I don't know, hitting somebody with your forearm in the back of the head, if that's legal or not. But they were all pretty obviously aiming for the side of his head.
Yeah. I mean, I've seen it at least 3 or 4 times, and I'm right there with you. I think that was a bullshit decision. I think he should have gotten a point taken away. If you're going to do anything, you should have given him a warning. At the very most, take a point away, start the fight back over. Cody Brundage was the guy that he was fighting, and I think that Cody just didn't want to continue, in my opinion.
Yeah, I think that's my impression.
That they had 2 doctors explaining to him that the fight wasn't over and asking him if he wanted to continue to fight. His answer was, I don't know. So, in my opinion, I think that he felt the power of Mr. Hassan, and
he was like, I don't want to mess with him.
I'm done.
Yeah.
We'll just call this a no contest. So
Kevin's also felt that power.
Yeah.
Razak, he did give me a pretty good leg kick last time he came in.
Yeah. So Dan Mergliotta, get your shit together. That was the first fight of the night for you. I don't think that you probably should have done a better job, in my opinion, but we're a little biased.
From what I understand, Brundage was acting pretty normal once they stopped the
I'm
fight.
sure. Yeah. So Cody Brundage, you're kind of a pussy for not stepping up to the plate, saying you're ready to fight and finishing that fight out. I don't know. I'm already in there and I'm already kind of concussed a little bit. I think I'm going to go out on my sword. I'm not going to be like, no, I can't fight anymore. I'm sorry. My head hurts now.
And if you can make that decision to stop the fight, you're not hurt anyway.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I agree with you. Yep. So, yeah, we've got these fights coming up. In my opinion, I think, again, Amanda Lemos is going to go ahead and take care of business. Virna Jandiroba kind of has one of those floaty eyes that we were talking about last time. I'm not trying to be insensitive by that. I did see a funny thing. Do you know who Michael Bisping is?
I don't.
He's a former UFC fighter who's now a commentator. he legit lost his eye in a UFC fight.
Damn.
And didn't tell anybody, just plucked a glass eye in there and fought with one eye for the rest of his career.
Whoa.
So you kind of knew something was up because you could kind of see that it was not moving. But I just saw a blooper of him over the past weekend, and he was standing in the middle of two fighters, and they were like, all right, you guys just want to kind of look at each other? And he was like, and then he pulled his eye and pushed it to one side and then made his eye look at the other. And he's like, how's this? So,
That's awesome.
Love Michael Bisping. That dude is the Count. He is a freaking badass of badasses. So, yeah, I don't know if Werner needs to hang out with Michael Bisping a little bit. But yeah, I don't know. Every time I see her fight, I just think of like, it's almost like whenever, I don't know if you're familiar, Drakus, we just talked about him. He had like a deviated septum and was only getting like 3% oxygen from his nose and was still going out there and fighting people basically with no nose. He got his nose fixed and now his cardio is through the roof.
Yeah.
You have people that do that all the time where you just like, you know, Nate Diaz had scar tissue on his face and because he fought so much, he just would never get it. Like,
Yeah.
And so I feel the same way. Like Charles Oliveira, every time he wins a fight and then he puts his glasses on, I'm like, how do you accurately hit somebody if you can't see them without your glasses? So, Virna, I love you. You're a great scrappy fighter, but that eye freaks me out sometimes when we're fighting. What else do we have here, guys? We got, okay. So before we wrap it up, this will be the last thing we talk about here. We've talked about him a little bit. Action Bronson. Now, for those of you who don't know who Action Bronson is, we kind of, gave you a little behind the back scenes, but I feel like this man is stealing our lives.
He's on the same wavelength as us.
Our wavelengths. Him and I we're only 21 days apart. He's 40. I'm 40. He was born on December 2nd. I was born on December 23rd.
Damn.
So this gentleman just released a record. It is called Johann Sebastian Baklava, I believe. Johann Sebastian Baklava the Doctor is what it's called. And I was just kind of listening to it and just, trying to, there's not even a Wikipedia. Great. One second. I was listening to it and we actually saw the first single that he released in video form. And I sent it to you and I sent it to Phil and I was like, this guy is just stealing our lives. And like he legit is stealing our lives.
It's also funny. So last time we were here with Kevin, we've been talking about floating and cold plunge and sauna and benefits of that. And that very day after we recorded that episode, another very well-known podcast had Action Bronson on.
Yeah.
And they talked about floating and sauna and cold plunge. And they talked about kettlebells and maces. Like everything we had recorded, not having heard this, not knowing, like it came out maybe while we were recording the episode.
Yeah.
And just like, we're on that same wavelength.
Yeah. So, like I said, the album is called Johann Sebastian Baklava the Doctor. Just came out on the 11th. There's a couple of songs that we've already heard, but the one that I kind of wanted to touch base on is Hogan, because not only is he rapping about, like, he name drops, I think, 6 different UFC fighters throughout this project. But this part right here, lyrics are, Mel Gibson gave me COVID at McGregor versus Poirier 3 when he broke his leg. His favorite breakfast was Coke and eggs. So my thing is with this line, we've got violence, we've got breakfast, we've got the fact that Connor's always on Coke. We've just got so much that we've talked about on this podcast, all within just a few seconds of each other.
Yeah, in 3 lines.
And I'm going to add another layer to this. I was going to bring up a picture for you guys to have for the video episodes when I'm not there, so I'm still kind of there.
So the third co-host is there.
But that was going to be a picture of me and Hulk Hogan.
Oh, perfect.
Whoa.
Yeah, exactly. Perfect. So I was looking at, is it this one? Anyways, he shouts out Francis Ngannou. He shouts out Shavkat Ramanov. That's how you say his name. He's got a track on here named after Hideo Nomo. I mean, like NBA Leather on NBC. NBA Leather was the tour that he was on with Earl Sweatshirt and Boldy James. And I went to go see that show. That was probably one of the best shows I've ever seen. Hideo Nomo is the one that I think let's see.
That's the one that you sent me first.
I got more karate moves than Steven Seagal.
He says Seagal.
He does say
it
Seagal.
really kind of made me angry.
But that's the thing, right? If you are trying to insult Steven Seagal, you call him by his real name, Seagal.
And say it's karate moves.
Karate moves, yeah, exactly. Yeah, so if you're into this podcast and you'd like to hear like the hip hop version of this podcast, just listen to Action Bronson's new record. Also, Action, we need to like fight or something, because everything, the video that you just released, you went camping, and my homie that's the editor of this podcast, Phil, his current line is all about camp. So you stole that from Phil. You stole your love of UFC and love of hip hop and love of breakfast foods from us. This whole record is basically the soundtrack to our podcast. So
we're going to need royalties.
Yeah, I need something. You're going to have to put something down on this. So if you hear this, Action Bronson, you give us a call, 682-294-0101, and tell us how much you're going to compensate us for stealing our vibes and our lives and our stories.
Get out of my head, Action Bronson.
Or at least come in here, float, do a cold plunge.
Yeah, let's chop it up in real life for sure. Again, we're here every week, Thursdays, 6 a.m. Central Time, talking breakfast foods and violence. We're pretty much wrapping up for the day, so I'm going to let Kevin take it away for the next couple of minutes, whatever he's got to plug, whatever he wants to talk about, if he wants to threaten Gene over the airwaves, whatever he's got, I'm going to give him the airwaves for the next little bit.
I don't really want to fire Gene up any more than he already is.
It's emboldened.
Yeah, we had a big event last week, which we don't need to talk about because
everybody else is talking about it.
Yeah, we don't need to get political, but needless to say, Gene is more fired up than ever. Besides that, Fort Worth Float Company, come get a break from all the nonsense and distractions for a while. And if you've got physical stuff going on or just need to kind of reset for the week, come do the sauna and cold plunge too.
Yeah, we can attest to that. It is something else.
Yeah, I'm definitely going to do it again, for sure. I definitely want to get in the sensory deprivation pod as well. I need to schedule some time for that.
Yeah, do it. It's awesome.
Parker, you've got Ray's Burgers, right?
I got Ray's Burgers. I'm there 11 to 3, Monday through Friday, slinging burgers, fries, onion rings. I've also got Philly cheesesteaks. I got all kinds of good stuff. I'm working on some secret menu things. I got veggie stuff for all the vegan homies. I'm there 11 to 3, and then I got a night job doing stuff in the middle of the night too. So come see me, bring me caffeine. I'm showing movies. I don't have Bloodsport on tape, but once I get Bloodsport on VHS, I'll start showing that.
Hit up Jordan. He's got so much VHS for you.
Yeah, I've got a whole bunch. And actually, I had some friends drop off some tapes to show. And so, yeah, it's been cool. But yeah, come grab a burger, grab a patty melt. Come see me. 1945, 8th Avenue, Fort Worth, Texas, 76110.
Perfect. If you need some lunch, go see Parker at Ray's Burgers. And if you need some shoes, you can find me right down the street at Center. We're over off of Magnolia. We'll be back in there doing some more filming, and you'll see that place a little bit more on the YouTube channel. I've got a DJ event. I don't know if, let me see, when is this coming out? A week from today? Yeah. So that would be the 23rd?
Yes.
Yeah. Okay. So then this is perfect. If you're listening to this on the 27th, you can come see me DJ Through Being Cool at the Boiled Owl. That's Jason Ferries' event. It's normally him, but he's going to be out of town. He asked me to cover for him. So if you want to come shake your ass and bother me while I'm DJing music, I'll be at the Boiled Owl that night. Usually it's from 10 to 2 a.m. Like I said, I'm at Center pretty much every day. If you need to come see me for shoes or any cool gear or anything like that, or to give me a high five or anything like that. So we appreciate everybody that's listened, given their advice and reviews, and helped us out with this podcast. All of the fans out there that are continuing to download our episodes, we thank you. Please like, rate, review, subscribe to all of our stuff, so that way it helps us know that you're out there, where you're from. To those people that are listening to us in Belgium and Germany, we want to say Danke schön. I think that's how you say that. I don't know.
I'm pretty sure.
Something like that.
Yeah.
Yeah, and if you're in India, we would like to say thank you because English is the national language in India. So, so thank you for listening to us. Kevin, thank you for having us. It was really a treat to get in that cold plunge. My body feels ready to take on the day, and these donuts have really given me the sugar I need to get my engine going for the day. So I'm about to head off to work. You guys have a great day. Thanks for joining us. This has been Breakfast of Champions, Season 1, Episode 10 with Kevin O'Malley, John Parker Howard III, and Rene Floyd. We'll see you next time. Bye.
Bye.